because I've been, and I'm just gonna be okay. Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Nikki, and today's video I'm going to be talking about Weight Watchers and the program in 2024. If you enjoyed this video or find it helpful, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. It really does help, and let's go ahead and get started. So today I'm just going to be talking about the basics of the Weight Watchers program. I realized I haven't made one of these videos in actually a couple years. There was a short period of time where WW was kind of changing the program a lot. It was like 3 years in a row. They just were making changes, and usually it's every 2 years that they kind of switch up the program, but they've kind of kept it the same for the past couple years, and it's been the points program. So I'm just going to be discussing that today because I've actually been getting a lot of questions, people starting up Weight Watchers maybe for the first time, or they're back on it and it's a new program, or just asking me for tips when it comes to Weight Watchers, because that is the program that I use to have success with my weight loss and maintenance journey. Today I'm just going to be kind of covering the basics of the Weight Watchers program, what the points are, how I use the program to my benefit, and just some tips that have really helped me along the way. So starting out, I started Weight Watchers in April of 2020. It was the first time I had ever done it in my life, and I ended up just doing the digital version, which is just through the app. I didn't want to go do the workshops and weigh in and do all that, even though it's just like a once a week meeting, and I've heard from many people that it's extremely helpful. But when I was first starting out, that was just something I wasn't interested in. I just kind of wanted to do it on my own using the app, so that's what I did. I made it my focus for the first month to track every single day and just track every single thing that I ate consistently. Even if I went over my points, I still did it, and it was the first time in my life that I've actually had success with weight loss. I continued that for the year, and I was able to lose 70 pounds, and now I've just been maintaining that loss since then. So it is now 2024. The program has definitely changed from when I first started 4 years ago, but there are some things that are the same and some things that really helped me on my journey. Starting out with Weight Watchers, when you go to their site, there are now 4 options for signing up. So there's the option to just do the points program, which does include workshops if you want to do that. There's online and in-person workshops. Again, I just did the digital, and that's what I've always done, and it's just what's worked best for me. But I've heard from many people that the workshops are a really great tool, and they really do benefit them on their journey. There's also now the GLP-1 program. So there's the option if you're already on meds, or if you want to get help getting on meds, there's those 2 options. And then there's the 4th option of doing the Weight Watchers diabetes program, which is very similar to the points program. It's just some adjustments with things like 0-point foods, not being fruit and stuff like that. So I'll get more into that. But like I said, I did the points program. At the time I did it, it was called Smart Points, and now it's just points. I honestly don't have any experience with the GLP-1 program, and I don't really know much about it to get into too much detail. If it's something you guys want to know more about, I can learn more about it and share. And I've been hearing from people their experiences about it. So there's definitely some good resources on like Instagram and TikTok of people sharing their journeys. But today I'm going to be focusing mostly on the points program. So with Weight Watchers, you have a points budget that you get each day. So when you first start the program in the app, you have to enter your information, enter what your goals are, and then it'll create a daily point number for you. So the program was different, like I said, when I started, but when I did and it was Smart Points, I got 38 points a day, and then however many weeklies. I honestly don't remember exactly how many. I feel like I probably had like 30 weeklies or so, and that was my point budget. So you get your daily value that you can go through. If you go over that, you get some weeklies that you can use. It automatically takes it from your weekly bank. Or if you're under your daily value, you can have up to 4 points roll over back into the weekly bank. So the weekly bank is meant to be spread out throughout the week. You can use it all in one day if you really want to, but you choose how you use your weeklies, but it's kind of just like an extra bank of points. But your daily points are the points you get every single day. They reset every single day, and that number stays the same. Unless you start to lose weight, it will go down. I started at 38, and then after a week or 2, it went down to 37. A couple more weeks, I lost more weight. It went down to 36, 35, and it just kept going down to match up with my weight loss and what my goals were. Now, one of the best parts about Weight Watchers for me is 0-point foods. So what I like is that I don't have to track 0-point foods, and they're 0 points. So you don't have to worry too much about portion sizes, and it just encourages you to eat lots of protein, fiber, fruits and vegetables and things like that, because again, you don't have to track them. In the past, when I would try to use calories to lose weight and tracking my calories, I never stuck with it because I really got sick of tracking each individual ingredient, and I felt like if I didn't track every ingredient, it was kind of pointless. But With Weight Watchers and how the program works, you don't have to track your 0-point foods. You can if you choose to, but I personally don't, and that's what's made it more sustainable for me, because when I only have to track like 2, 3, or 4 ingredients for a meal, it's so much better than 9 or 10, and I really do notice a difference when I film my What I Eat in a Week videos, which I can share the playlist for those down below. But for a week straight, I track with Weight Watchers points and macros and calories, and I compare the two, and just tracking a meal in Weight Watchers versus MyFitnessPal is so different. There's so many more ingredients that I end up tracking in MyFitnessPal, and again, it's just more sustainable to not have to track 0-point foods. When you go into the app, which I forgot to mention, I will be doing an in-depth video explaining how to use the Weight Watchers app, but I'm gonna do that for a separate video. That's gonna be way too long if I include that today. But when you go into the app, you can search for what your 0-point foods are, and it gives you a list with a nice picture like this. So for me, my 0-point foods that I don't have to track are non-starchy vegetables, fruits, eggs, yogurt and cottage cheese, fish and shellfish, chicken and turkey breast, beans, peas, lentils, tofu, and corn and popcorn. Again, that is going to be different if you're doing the diabetes program. I'm not exactly sure about the GLP-1 program, if it changes your 0-point foods. I don't think it does, but don't quote me on that. I would need to double check that. But your 0-point foods are so important because those are what I use to really bulk up my meals, to make sure that they're filling and to make sure I'm getting in protein and, like I said, vegetables and fiber and those types of things. So usually when I make a meal or decide what I'm going to eat, I start with the 0-point foods first, and then I kind of build the meal around that. So I'll start with chicken breast and then some veggie mix that I have made, and then maybe I'll add rice, which is going to be points. But then I can add lettuce and salsa, and then maybe some light sour cream or cheese. That's gonna add points. But again, then I only have to track 3 out of like 8 ingredients. For me, it's been really helpful to focus on 0-point foods first and try to make those a priority to get those in. And people always ask, like, can't you gain weight if you can have unlimited 0-point foods? With me personally, when it comes to the vegetables especially, I don't weigh portions. I'm not specific with portions at all. I usually try to do extra if I'm having those things. But when it comes to even proteins or even like popcorn, beans and lentils, or edamame is one of my favorite 0-point proteins. When it comes to those things, I usually do start with the normal serving size first. And then if I want more, if I want to add more, I will, but usually that ends up being a good amount with the other things that I have with it. So definitely I think it is important to kind of be smart about portions when you're starting out. Maybe don't have an omelet with 16 eggs to start your day because they're 0 points. You can do an omelet with 2 or 3 eggs and then some veggies, and maybe do some type of like potato with it or something to make it more filling. But I feel like being realistic with portion sizes when it comes to some of the 0-point foods has been the most helpful for me. But again, you can do what works best for you. If it helps you to weigh out exact portions, you can do that. Again, it's just more sustainable for me to not have to worry too much about portions of the vegetables I'm eating. So when it comes to points of an item, the way to find out how many points an item is, there's a few different things you can do. So if they have a barcode on it, if it's a store-bought product, you could scan the barcode and it'll show up in the app with the points. When I do this, I always make sure to check the nutrition at the bottom to make sure it matches the label. There have been a lot of discrepancies with that and point differences because of that. And so I really do try to make that a focus when I'm scanning new items, especially. You can also enter an item's nutrition. So you can just add a specific item and then you would type in the calories, fat, sugar, sodium, everything like that, and then it'll give you a number for that serving size. That's another way to find out the point values of an item. You can also just search for food items. So if I'm having jasmine rice and I just want to find a generic jasmine rice in the app, I can just type jasmine rice, find one that matches up similar to the nutrition that I know that it has, or I just pick one that seems the most likely, and so I will click that and it'll give me the point value that way. So pretty much you can scan it, you can search it, or you can enter the info to find out the points of an item. That's one thing that we like to have a lot of fun with when we go to the grocery store, is just scanning different items to see their point values, because that's how we find new low point foods, or maybe know things that aren't like worth it for us to have because they're higher points and we didn't realize. When we first started Weight Watchers, we started scanning everything and we started typing in the old meals we used to eat and realizing how many points we really were consuming in a day. And we were over consuming more than I ever realized. Honestly, I knew we were, but I didn't realize the extent of it. So using the points and getting an idea with that really did help. And the way points are calculated, they're not just calories. It's not just like related to calories. So like a higher calorie food has more points. A lot of things go into it when it comes to the nutrition. So there's a specific algorithm that calculates the points, and with it takes into consideration the calories, the fat, the saturated and unsaturated fat, It takes into consideration added sugar, because usually natural sugar doesn't up a point value, but when there's added sugar that they put in that's not natural sugar, that will up the point value of an item. And then also protein and fiber are huge things that can affect the point value. So points are not just translated to calories. There is more that goes into it, and that's why the program works and why I have like confidence in using it, because I know that things that are higher with added sugar are going to be higher points, or higher saturated fat are going to be higher. But if there's a lot of fiber in it or protein, then it brings the point value down. And I'm trying to focus on eating higher protein, higher fiber. So of course that'll be good if the point value is lower because of that. And they state that lower point foods are more nutritious, which again makes sense. If they have more fiber, more protein, lower saturated fat, lower added sugar, they're going to be more nutritious. And that is why you can use the point system to stay on track with it. Another thing you can do with WeightWatchers is track your physical activity and exercise. So you can hook up, if you have like a smartwatch or Apple Watch or some type of tracking monitor, you can usually hook those up to the app and it can track your steps and stuff, and you will get some weekly points back for your activity points. For me personally, that's something I just don't like to do, because it's been an issue for me in the past when I used to count calories and stuff. I used to try to work out extra hard to be able to earn more calories back and earn my food, and the mentality of earning my food was just very unhealthy for me. So when it comes to working out, I make my focus on just building muscle, getting stronger, getting movement to be more flexible and improve my bones and health and heart and all that stuff. That is why I exercise. I don't do it to be able to get more food. So I try not to track it, because then it kind of just gets in my head with it. But if it is something motivating and if it helps you to even see those extra points, and maybe then you're able to eat more, because when you are more active, your body does require more energy. And so it is important to make sure you are fueling yourself. And I keep this in mind with certain like mental weeklies that I have and stuff like that. If you want to track activity and it helps you, I definitely recommend it. You can do it through the app, and they again have an algorithm where it's not exactly translated from like activity to points, but they have an algorithm that it'll give you a couple points depending on how much activity you do. That's realistic. So you're not just eating back all the points that you just technically burned doing the activity. So another big part of WeightWatchers is weigh-ins, and you can do daily weigh-ins, you can do weekly weigh-ins. I personally did weekly weigh-ins, and I would weigh in every Tuesday morning. I would do it just right when I got up before I ate anything or anything like that. I would just go weigh myself, and then I would track it in the app. And this is just a good way to stay on track with your weight loss. It was really motivating to me, honestly. I'd get excited for weigh-in day, and there were many times where I was let down, but I tried to just use that as motivation to have another good week after, because my main focus was just consistency and sustainability. So if it was slower than I wanted, I knew that I was still going to have sustainable results, and that's what was more important to me. And in the long run now, I've seen that that's really beneficial to me, to just make it sustainable and not lose a bunch right away and be stressed out about the fact that I wasn't losing 5 pounds a week, because that just isn't even realistic. So weigh-ins were exciting and they were disappointing at times, but again, something that I just had to keep in mind. This is all part of the journey, and I want this to last. So for me, it just worked best to do weekly weigh-ins, but again, some people do daily just to see the fluctuations. Because your weight fluctuates so much, it helps them to see that every single day it can go up and down, and then they look at like the end of the week totals and stuff, and that helps them. But for me, once a week was perfect. I don't weigh that much anymore. I am set to maintenance mode on WeightWatchers. I still track with it, but I do not do the weigh-ins because I just don't weigh myself every week, and I focused more on building muscle now. And even though the scale's gone up a little bit, I've continued to burn fat and build muscle, which is my overall goal now. The scale and weigh-ins aren't really a huge part of my journey anymore, but for the first about year on WeightWatchers, I tracked every single week and I did weigh in every single week. So that pretty much covers the basics of the program. I didn't really get into maintenance though. So once you hit your goal, which technically I never actually hit my goal. When you go into the WeightWatchers app, you set a goal for yourself. They don't calculate one. You can pick what goal you want. And I went with one that was too low for what was sustainable for me. So I never ended up actually hitting it. I got within 10 pounds of it, but I pretty much plateaued at 180. My goal was 170. And so once I hit 180, I was there for weeks, and the fluctuations were like 0.1 every single week, that I finally just got to the point where I just stopped weighing, because I was getting kind of discouraged that it wasn't going down. And then when I started lifting weights, it kind of started fluctuating up a little and it was just getting to me mentally. So that's when I stopped my weigh-ins. But once I got to that point, I decided to switch over to maintenance. So there's two modes you can do on WeightWatchers. There is weight loss mode and maintenance mode. I switched to maintenance because I was ready to just maintain that weight. I felt healthy and I felt confident where I was, and I wasn't trying to push to get to that 170 anymore. It really just wasn't worth it to me to just see a number. I wanted to focus on how I felt. So I set my WW app to maintenance mode instead of weight loss, and then it adds about 6 points. I don't know if it's the same for everyone, but I got 6 points added to my daily bank every day. So this is the amount of points that I could eat to maintain my weight. I got 6 more, and then my weeklies stayed the same. Still, if I had any rollovers, I would get 4 rollovers a day into my weeklies, but that was what my new point balance was. And for me, honestly, not much really changed when I started maintenance mode. I still was tracking the same, eating all the same foods that I was eating throughout my weight loss journey. It was just I had a few more points, which was good because, again, I was focusing on getting stronger at the gym, and that's when I was rollerblading more and stuff. So I did need a little bit more energy anyway, and that kind of just helped me to maintain. And I've been doing that ever since. So it's been about 3 years now that I've been maintaining. In April, it'll be 3 years, but it'll be 4 years since I started my journey. That is just what's worked best for me with the WeightWatchers program. I have some tips that have helped me too that I'm gonna quickly cover, but that's pretty much the basics of the program when it comes to the points program. You track your points for the day, you have your dailies, you can use your weeklies, and then you can get activity points if you want to do that. But mainly it's just tracking with points and then doing your weigh-ins. And if you stick with your point budget, you should consistently lose weight or maintain depending on what setting you have. So a couple tips that I was just going to talk about. One thing that really helped me with WeightWatchers when I was starting out especially was finding a community. And they have a community tab in the app that you can post and you can talk with other people and other members who are doing the program. They all have to do it through the app. So they are people who pay for the WeightWatchers app to get in there and to use the Connect portion of it. So I am on there. If you guys want to follow me, I will have that in the description. But you can post different things about your journey on there. People post weigh-ins, they post meals, grocery hauls, just motivating pictures and quotes and stuff. And it really is a positive environment. Actually, just for the first time yesterday was the first time ever I've gotten a negative comment on there. I've never received a negative comment on the WW Connect app until yesterday, which was so weird because I've been posting on there for years now. But anyway, there, and then Instagram, and then I started my YouTube page. So just finding community that relates to the WeightWatchers program and relates to this journey that I'm on and my past struggles with food and all those types of things, my relationship with food. Connecting with others for inspiration and support really did help me and has continued to help me throughout my journey, and I definitely recommend it. Another thing is to just make the program fun. Honestly, we have fun just scanning different items to see what points they're gonna be. Even if it's something we know is gonna be so high point, we just like to scan it to try to guess what the points are gonna be. And in that way, we've kind of just started to like live the program and make it a positive, fun thing instead of like, oh, we have to scan, we have to track, we have to like, we try to make it fun and try to like guess what things are going to be. Even like a new item that's going to be low point and we're excited, we try to guess what the points are going to be before, and then sometimes we'll scan it and see that the nutrition doesn't match up and we'll have to change it and try to guess what it is and stuff. And so making the journey fun and not dreading it really does help. I think it's also really important to pay attention to labels and educate yourself on portion sizes and stuff like that. That really did help me in the beginning because I was tracking accurately and learning how to weigh portions and all of those things, which I have a video where I describe how to track and weigh out certain things with portions. I can also link that in the description of this video, but I feel like learning portion sizes was a huge thing that really helped me at the start of my journey when it came to WeightWatchers. And now it's something that I just kind of know and I just do out of habit. And that has really helped to make this journey sustainable for me. Also, just keep it simple. This doesn't have to be complicated, and I feel like that's what was so different about WeightWatchers for me, was that it was simplified. Instead of, like I said, having to track a bunch of things and focus on tracking activity and stuff, I could just track the points, and it was a few items per meal that I had to track, and a lot of it even became repetitive, so I would learn items point values. And even now, like, I can go through a whole day without touching the WeightWatchers app, and by the end of the day I know exactly how many points I've had because I can just track it in my head, knowing how many points everything is because I've been doing this for a while now. But keeping it simple, keeping meals very basic but still really good and filling, which is something that I talk about all the time on my channel because it helps me so much. First of all, to have bigger portions and to have recipes that aren't complicated, that have ingredients that I always have on hand, and I try to just mix it up and do different things so that I don't get bored. but keeping it simple really has made it sustainable for me with Weight Watchers. And so I definitely recommend to not stress yourself out, not try to find a bunch of really stressful long recipes that you want to start for the first week or meal prep a bunch of different things. Like, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just keep it simple to start. Another tip I have with Weight Watchers is to be honest with tracking, because it is easy to just go eat something and not track it. And when you do that, those points still are there. You're still consuming them. Even if you don't put them in the app, technically you used your dailies for the day. Like, you technically did eat that food. It doesn't make it not real because you didn't track it. So being honest with tracking is what is going to give you results. And I really learned this when I was working in a bakery when I had started Weight Watchers, and I was going to work and we had food all the time, and it made me realize how much I was just snacking on food that we had in the back all the time. And those points added up so quickly because I started honestly tracking everything that I ate, and I would be done with my points by 10 in the morning with the donut that I'd have, plus my breakfast that I ate there, plus whatever else I was snacking on. My points added up so quickly, and I didn't realize it in the past. Being honest with tracking and really seeing what I'm consuming in a day really did help me stick to it and see results pretty quickly. Another thing that's helpful too, and this is one thing that Adam does a lot, especially because he packs his food to go to work, but pre-tracking meals can be really helpful if you know what you're going to be eating, and maybe you're just sitting down on your phone and you just think, okay, I'm going to track this. I'm going to track my dinner right now. Because sometimes I'll do that. I'll plan ahead what I'm having for dinner. I'll pre-track it. And then when I make it, I don't even have to worry about entering the things in my phone. But also when Adam packs up all his food in the morning, he doesn't have to worry about tracking it at work because he lays everything out that he's going to pack up. He scans it really quickly and enters it, and then he doesn't have to track throughout the day. And pre-tracking has just really helped him to be prepared and know what he's going to be eating. So maybe even if he's already pre-tracked and then someone offers him a snack of some random thing at work that they brought in, he knows, okay, well, I actually have some extra points, so yeah, I might as well have that or whatever. Or he'll decide he doesn't want it. And pre-tracking can really help with that when you feel like you want to be a little bit more prepared. So those are just some of the things that have really helped me along the way with Weight Watchers. My channel pretty much shares my journey with Weight Watchers when it comes to my what I eat in a days, my what I eat in weeks, grocery hauls. I still use the point system. It's still really helpful to me in maintenance. I may not track every single item every single day, but again, like I said, at this point, I can pretty much track everything in my head, knowing the point values. Of course, we always try to find new items and we're always learning new point values and stuff, but the program hasn't changed that much in the past few years. And so that's pretty much the basics of it. And I hope you guys found this video helpful. I feel like I was all over the place and I want to cover everything because I know that especially when you're first starting out, it can be pretty confusing, but that's why I'm also going to make the video explaining the app. So look out for that later. I will have that, but I hope you guys enjoyed this and found it helpful. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.